with me? On this very ordinary looking street in Pontefract, West Yorkshire, sits a house that on first appearance looks like anywhere else. But the events that are said to have occurred in here are far, far from normal. In recent years, the reported hauntings at 30 East Drive have been making headlines around the UK, attracting a huge amount of attention as well as controversy. On my visit here, I aim to try and see if this seemingly ordinary house is really as haunted as people say it is. Our history of a haunting here goes back to August of 1966 when the Pritchard family moved in. Almost straight away, strange events began to happen. Phillip, who was aged 15 at the time, and his grandmother witnessed a layer of chalk-like dust seemingly appear in mid-air before falling down. This was followed by pools of water appearing and disappearing on the kitchen floor for no apparent reason. Over the following months, objects were seen levitating. Cupboards would shake violently along with pictures on the wall being slashed. Green foam is also said to have come from the taps and toilet despite the water being turned off. The press got involved in 1968 and dubbed the unwanted guest Mr. Nobody. However, the Pritchards prefer to refer to it as Fred, maybe in a way to try and normalise events. Strange things continued over the next few years, including people being slapped around the face by an unseen force, as well as being pushed down the stairs. A number of exorcisms were also performed during this period, unfortunately to no avail. The property was later abandoned by the family, and it's after this that the story seems to change. In 2012, a film named When the Lights Went Out was released and is based upon the events experienced throughout the late 60s and early 70s by the Pritchard family. Since the release of the film, 30 East Drive was opened up to visitors and paranormal investigators to come and see if they could also experience a supernatural event said to occur here. I've been extremely interested in this case since I first heard about it a few years ago, however it might not be for the reasons you're thinking. I'm completely open to the idea that the Pritchards did indeed experience strange activity here back in the 70s, and all the activity that's reported really did come down to the box of sort of classic poltergeist hauntings. And I know that they did name the entity, name the spirit here as Fred, and the press named it as Mr. Nobody. However, I don't think that the haunting necessarily had any personality, rather it was more sort of a psychic activity that was potentially surrounding one of the other members of the family. We see this a lot with many other poltergeist cases, the Enfield haunting for example, which is extremely well documented. And they don't really last for very long. They may go on for a few months, at the very most they'll go on for a few years. So why is it then that there was no activity reported here from when the Pritchards left all the way through to when the film When the Lights Went Out was released? Since people have been allowed to stay in the property, an entity known as the Black Monk has been at the forefront of the hauntings. Many visitors claim to have encountered the Black Monk and believe it's incredibly evil and possibly even dangerous, with many psychics refusing to even enter the house because of it. A priory did in fact stand in Pontefract in the Middle Ages, and although there were a few sightings of a monk-like figure back in the 60s, it's unknown as to why it was only in the 21st century that the image of an evil, demonic type character emerged. I'm going to try and do the most honest investigation here that I can possibly do. However, I have got my doubts as to whether things are occurring on the level that people say they are, or whether they're even occurring at all. A lot of people have come in recent years and say that they have experienced strange things, but this can merely be down to the fact that they want to see things and they want to hear things, and they're looking into things a bit too deeply. The other thing that really puts doubt in my mind is that there was nothing really experienced here for about 30 years. Until the film When the Lights Came Out was released, and it was after this that the house was opened up for people to come round. It was opened up for paid investigations as we're doing tonight, and I wonder if that film was almost like a little bit of advertising for opening this place up, and I'm sure a lot of money is being made from this place. Now whether that's honest money or not, hopefully we'll try and find out and get to the bottom of it tonight. So we're just getting set up for investigation at 30 East Drive. We've got tonight, I've been invited by, well, you guys. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
We're Spectral Paranormal with guest Eddie Mallet. I'm Rosanna and this is Richard. And yeah, we're at 30 East Drive for the very first time. Looking forward to it.
So very privileged to be here and all.
It is. It's certainly got a lot of history of hauntings and stuff here, so...
Atmospheric as well, very atmospheric.
Very strange feelings about the place as well.
It's hot.
It's extremely
Yeah.
hot. Bloody night. Midsummer.
So what sort of stuff are you guys looking to get tonight?
Well, any activity would be great, but as everyone knows, you can't always get what you want. But
As the Rolling Stones famously said.
exactly. But you know, if we get Fred, a full apparition, be amazing. But EVPs would be something.
Kill.
Just any proof whatsoever would be great.
Brilliant. So I think we'll get set up. We're all ready to go?
Awesomeness.
Great.
Let's go.
Shall I turn this light off?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're nocturnal creatures, ghost hunters.
Thank you. I will have to have it on and go upstairs then.
Yeah, I'll put...
Simple reason, for one reason only, I've done a total ghost hunting sin. I went and got my torch. Definitely a ghost hunting sin, that is.
Is there anybody in this house with us at the moment? I've come here to visit you. A lot of people say that there's somebody here, somebody that has been called Fred in the past.
Turn on.
Yeah, did you guys want to go up the stairs to start with, or...?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll stop it down here for a bit and then... I was thinking you might as well spread out.
Exactly.
Around the
We're kind of
house.
just on, like, congregating.
I'll get that light on for you. You think you could move something down here, please? You try and shut one of the doors? Feels very quiet down here at the moment.
Yes. Earlier on I got a kick in the head. Literally. Is it possible for you to knock on something? You can try and say something? name's Eddie.
My name's Luke.
What's your name?
After sitting in the living room for a further 10 minutes, nothing out of the ordinary seemed to happen, so I decided to use the EMF meter, which is used to detect electromagnetic fields, something many people believed are in some way linked to supernatural phenomena. So that's interesting. The sound I just heard there is like a creaking sound coming from the ceiling where everyone stood upstairs. But the way it obviously comes through the ceiling makes it sound like it's a noise in this room. So that's something interesting to point out. If you're not aware of that, you might think it is something making a noise in this room. So I'm just about to go and join the others upstairs, and while I do so, I'll point out that we've actually set up some balls on the stairs. A lot of people say activity is taking place on the staircase itself. So we've actually set some little balls up in each corner of the steps in hopes that something will knock them off and make them move. But again, they're very, very creaky stairs, so I don't know.
Did you just get it? Right. You say it again? Oh, I've just got like shiver. Yeah. Picking up things.
In this room,
Yep.
what are we getting?
Me and Eddie are both feeling sort of like as an energy peak. It's a that tingly feeling. Possible male voice.
Yeah, prickly.
That's annoying.
What is that sound?
It's the water.
Oh, okay.
What pipes?
It is heavy in there though. It's not just the heat.
No. It's quite a dark room though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's Richard just then, not
That was, yeah, he's just going downstairs.
Yeah.
I don't think he's feeling too good. It's this room though, it's too much, I think.
To be honest, when I came up here earlier during the day and I was in this room, it felt a bit oppressive, but I put that down to the fact of just it being a little bit darker in colour.
Yeah.
It's got proper curtains drawn on it rather than sort of see-through net ones. And it's got, I don't know, I think the layout of it is a bit, when you walk into it you can't see the whole room to start with.
Yeah.
So I think that puts you a little bit on edge, but I don't know. This is without doubt the hottest house I've ever been in. It must be about 35 degrees in here, absolutely drenched with sweat. But everyone's probably thinking, take your silly hat off, but I've got hat hair. So far, our night at 30 East Drive is proving to be extremely quiet, so I decided to spend some time in the coal shed, which is believed to be one of the most active areas of the building. So I'm currently in the little coal shed, coal cellar, I don't know what to call it. And this is where Mr. Pritchard allegedly was attacked by something in here he couldn't see, an unseen force, back in the 70s. So it's got a bit of a history of a haunting, this particular little cupboard. It's only a tiny place, I mean, this is it. couple of shelves there, and then what we got on the floor, some coal and some shovels and stuff. So, yeah. See if there's anybody in here with me now. Is there anybody in here with me? Hear you attacked Mr. Pritchard in here many years ago. You wouldn't let him out, you blocked the door. Do you think you could do that to me? Could you scare me in here? Make me want to leave? Move something in here? Some shovels down there, bits of coal, I don't know if you can move any of that. Just to let me know you're here. Did you knock on the wall? We've not seen you do anything tonight. We heard you had a bit of a reputation for scaring people and pushing them and slapping them, but we've seen none of it tonight. So I'm a bit disappointed. As the night drew on, despite my best efforts, there was not one instance where I believed something supernatural happened, so I decided to call it a night. So I'm just about to go to sleep. I'm sleeping in the room with the creepy painting on the wall. Yeah, unfortunately it's been a very quiet night. Maybe I'll get woken up in the night by something, I don't know. Found this doll here in one of the other rooms, and it's got this note attached to it which reads, "Hello, this is Nora. She's been donated and she is not very nice. She has moved in a friend's house and scratched on a door. Please respect her." So I think we've got here an allegedly haunted doll, which I shall be sleeping in the same room as. See if anything happens. Until then, good night. So I managed to make it through the night here at 30 Drive, and before I go I thought I'd just sit down and just tell you what my thoughts are on the place. I've spent a good sort of 12 hours here at the moment, and I've experienced absolutely nothing at all that I could say is maybe put down to something paranormal or supernatural. Now, as I said before, one night of investigating somewhere isn't enough really to get an idea of what kind of activity is going on, because I've been places before where I know stuff does happen and it has quiet nights where nothing does. However, having been here for this amount of time, there's not even a kind of feel around here, and it's very difficult to describe when I say a feel, because it's something you can't really appreciate unless you are in a certain location that has activity going on. But even places that are very quiet, when nothing does seem to happen, there is still that sort of background feel there of something, sort of presence, but there's none of that here whatsoever. In fact, it feels very welcoming, as I said earlier. It feels a very friendly house. Certainly nothing malicious as people have previously described experiencing. My honest opinion is that there's a certain amount of money being made from this place, and people are coming here all the time and paying their money to come and investigate somewhere that really there's nothing really going on. And also I've done the most honest investigation I could have done. I've not been one-sided with it, nothing's happened. So I can honestly say I wouldn't bother coming here unless you want to see for yourself that nothing's going on.